Actually, then they go outside, what we call zip cuff, which is just basically you just tie their hands together. Then from that point, they put them on a truck, and I don't ever know what happened to the males after that. I mean, after that, you don't ever see them again, to our standpoint. You when you're in the house, you usually you demolish it, all of it, and then it's real dramatic because you have women and kids. You know, they're screaming because, I mean, hell, it just scared the hell out of them. You woke them up with an outrageous bang. I mean, C4 is very explosive. You do that, you know, you disrupt their brothers, their husbands from their arms. They threw them out. They don't know where their husbands' sons are going. They don't know when they're going to be back. If they'll be tortured, they don't really, you know. And you can't communicate with the people because you don't know how to communicate with them. And it adds more, I guess, grief to yourself and a lot more questions because you have to do it on a constant basis. And it rips people's families apart, and it rips you apart as well because you're the one having to do it. And you don't have no say in, well, I don't want to participate in this any longer. You can't do that.
I know soldiers who were ordered, they went to Abu Ghraib and they were told they had to use scare tactics. They had to put this person under so much emotional stress so they couldn't handle it. You know, it's torture, physical, emotional. It's what the Army's ordering us to do. And I know soldiers who killed prisoners at different prison sites that have never been prosecuted. But that's not the person they are. They wouldn't just kill someone in regular society. It's what the Army's trained us for months and months to be killers, trained us to be these monsters, and now we're released onto the people of Iraq.
I was told I'd be building bridges. I was told I would be stationed at a non-deployable base, which means you don't go nowhere, you just stay at that base. I was told that I would not have to go overseas unless like a repeat of World War II happened. Like if there was a world war where everybody had to go, then of course I would have to go. I was told because of my large family at the time that I'd be one of the very, very last people to go. Instead, I was one of the first. I felt I was lied to, you know, from the start then. You know, I was like, they lied to me about that. And then it was like everything else that I was told from the recruiting station, from the people that you entrust, these answers, you know, your question, you ask them questions and they give you your answers. As far as you know, that's their government employees. You know, they're supposed to answer your question as truthful as they can. But it's like everything I was told was a lie.
The contract, when you go to sign your contract, it's about 30 pages long. And you go, okay, I want to flip through this real quick. And the sergeant that's helping you with your contract and stuff, they say, no, you don't have time to read it. I'll just tell you what each page basically says. That you're, or what the contract basically says. And he just goes, well, the contract basically says that you're going to be signed up for 4 years, and after that you have like 4 years of callback, basically. If there's a military action, we can call you back. At the end of the contract, it says that everything in this contract that we have promised, as in the Army, can be changed at any time without your notice. And it also states in there that everything I promised is non-negotiable. So I have to serve my 4 years, no matter what.
I did break a contract. I signed up for 4 years. I didn't stay for 4 years, but a contract is two ways. It's two people agreeing to certain terms and conditions. And the Army didn't live up to its terms and conditions. It's not defending the Constitution of the United States in the war in Iraq.
I did break the law by not going against the contract, but you know, it's worth it because, you know, I actually now can live with myself, and I don't have to put myself through something that will make me depressed for the rest of my life.
Yes, I did volunteer for it. I knew I knew there was reasonable doubt that if there was a war, I'd have to go. I mean, everybody has to think of that. Even if you're told different, you still have to understand that it could happen. I didn't go to kill innocent farmers and kids trying to protect their own country. You have innocent people dying all around you all the time. Then you have, on the other hand, you have your friends, your American soldiers, either getting maimed, you know, the legs blown off, and then you start thinking to yourself, for what purpose is any of this, you know? And then the only thing you can come up with after all said and done, after you think and it drives you nuts, is that we're here for the benefit of the Bush administration. That's why we're here. And then nobody, even your superiors, big time superiors, they can't sit there and tell you what your goal is. What are we here for? They don't know that either. They couldn't even tell you. So then it comes to the point where, okay, then obviously I'm here for the oil.
Before Josh went to Iraq, he was very passive, very calm. Always calm. He never was nervous or got upset. The boys could do whatever. He was all fine with them. Like when he came back, so we went out to have a drink, like right at first to, celebrate he's home or whatever. And he totally flipped out because there was so many people in the place, and he kept doing like this and like this because he didn't want anybody behind him. And he was like having flashbacks, and with a large crowd of people around him, he would just freak out. He was just freaking out totally. That same night, he got so mad. He flipped out in the house and was throwing things and cussing and yelling and ripping drawers out and tear the ceiling fan down. It was just things that way different from him, It's kind of hard when you try to talk to him. Sometimes his mind will be somewhere else, and for the kids it's kind of hard because you try to interact, but he's thinking about Iraq. He'll see something and it triggers it to where that's all he thinks about, even though he tries to talk to us. He's just not there. He's gone.
Most units, just like mine, are saying that they're not going to accept any conscientious objector claims. You can apply, but you won't be granted.
My first sergeant, who's one of my higher supervisors, he got up in front of the formation and basically told us that there was two guys who applied for the conscientious objector status. Anyways, he got up there and told us that there was two guys who applied for it, and that he didn't want anyone else to apply for it because we was going to Iraq whether we liked it or not.
There was, I think, when I left, there was 15 other people that went AWOL from my unit alone. So, if you look at how many units there are deploying at any given time, if there's 5 or 15 or 20 from that unit that go AWOL, it's a lot of people AWOL. Being AWOL in the States, it's impossible to do. And actually, have a real life. You have a choice of going back to jail or living underground for the rest of your life. That's what choices you have, unless you go to Canada. That's the only other option that I know of.
I was coming home for a 2-week leave, and I was supposed to return to Iraq for an unknown amount of time. By the time I got home, the whole entire time I pretty well know what I got to do, but I have to talk it over with my wife and let's see how everybody sees, if they see it my way or if they don't see it my way. Well, we did, so we decided we're going to have to leave, So basically at that time, I considered I deserted at that time.
He didn't want to go and do the things he was doing to the civilians. That part of what he had to do was tearing him up inside. So we thought, well, he might go to jail. That was very scary. And we thought about then if he would be dishonorably discharged, which really upset him because that would follow you for the rest of his life in any job he tried to get or anything like that. We had to do what we had to do to keep our family together.
So all I knew is we had to run. So then basically we left Colorado Springs and we just took off driving. So we started driving east and we ended up in Philadelphia, which was big enough for us. We lived there for 14 months, basically from hotel to hotel. You still have to work because you have to provide, which is very nerve-wracking and stressful at the time. And basically you have to be in the shadows constantly. You can't let nobody know who you are, really. You have to be very, very quiet. You have to constantly lie because nobody can know the real situation. Then it just got to the point where, then it was like in October, you have to start thinking of something. There has to be another way out of this because I was pretty paranoid, you might say, and pretty nervous, but I had a reason to be. So then it got to the point where there's got to be something there. There has to be something out there. So I started looking on the internet, and then that's when I found that Jeremy was up here, Jeremy Heinzman was up here, and how Jeffrey House had helped him, and that there was a war resistor campaign. So then I tried to contact them people, but even then you really don't know.